Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Programming Forecast. So in today's tutorial, we will learn about environment configuration and MongoDB connection setup. So let's not further delay, let's get started. So these are the topics we will discuss in today's tutorial. The first one is why environment variables are required. Secondly, why we should never hardcode secrets. Thirdly, how .env works. And here .env is a file that has extension .env. And fourth, how .env works internally. And this .env is basically a Node.js package to handle or to manage this .env extension file, and then how to create a configuration layer, and then how to connect to MongoDB in a professional way, and last but not the least, understanding the complete startup flow. So okay, let's get started. So our first topic is the problem with hard-coded configuration. So imagine we write this code inside our project hard-coded. So this works, your application runs. But this is a bad practice. So why this is a bad practice? Because configuration changes between environments. So what are the environments? There can be different environments. Professional application usually has development mode, testing mode, production environment, and each environment has different values. The example can be the database URL. Here in development mode, the port and the database URL are different from our production mode. In development mode, as you can see, the port number is 5000, and in production mode, it is 80. And in development mode, obviously, the database of the development is different from the production. So the code should remain the same, only configuration should change. Now, what are environmental variables? So environmental variables are the values stored outside our source code. The example can be the port number, the connection of a database connection URL, the JWT secret, the password, the database password. So whenever we write port is equal 5000, it is actually vulnerable, and it is simply leaking our information to the publics. So instead of this, we will write port is equal to process.env.port. Now the value comes from the operating system environment. So think of it like the application is asking to the operating system, can I have the port number please? And then the operating system is returning the port number through this process.env. So now, why secrets must not be inside code? So authentication will require secrets like JWT secrets, email password, the database password. So if you put the JWT secret, suppose in your code, the problems are GitHub exposure. First of all, GitHub exposure. Whenever you push your code to GitHub, anyone can see your secrets. Anyone can see your JWT secrets, and hackers can simply easily hack your database. Now, the second problem can be team problems. Imagine 5 developers. Everyone has different database. Everyone has their own version of database. So the 5 developers are working in a same project. So obviously you don't want developers changing source code every time, because whenever developer A pushes the hard-coded database URL to the GitHub and developer B pull down that, so she or he needs to change the database URL by herself every single time, because after pulling the code from the Git, she actually now has the URL of database of the developer A's database. And lastly, deployment problems. Your server provider needs different values, as I said before. In development mode, there is in development mode there is a different database URL, and in production mode or for AWS, the database is different. So that's why we will never hard coded these things. We will use our .env file to simply store them here, and then we will use the .env package to reload those values. Now installing .env, simply open your Node.js project, and in terminal simply write npm install .env. So as I said before, .env is a package that reads the file .env, which has an extension .env. Okay, so it loads those values from .env to process.env. Process.env. Okay. So Node can access by using .env package. We are enabling Node to access process.env. So after .env, now we will create a file with the extension .env, and inside the file we will store our port number, our database URL or connection URI, and the JWT secret. Now, after that, okay, there is one thing to note down. .env should not go to GitHub. As I said before, we don't want public to know our secrets. These values should be hidden. So we will create another file .gitignore, and we will write these two names. This is the node module folder. We also don't want to push our node module folder into Git, because this is a huge folder. So it is also should be in gitignore file, and also .env, because .env consists the secrets. Okay, now creating the configuration folder. So we have created our config folder before. Now we will create these two files under this config folder. One is called env.js. Look, this is a JavaScript file with the extension .js, and this is .env extension file. These two files are completely different files. Okay, so after creating these two files under the configs folder, so why we need this file? Because configuration, these files are the setup, application setup, or the configuration of the application. Obviously we don't want to write the process.env. Sorry, we don't want to write this line throughout our application everywhere, every single time we need the code. We don't want to write this long part of code in our every single file. So that's why we are creating environment variable file, and in this file we add this line of code. We will import .env package. Then using .env package, we will collect the values of our port, database URL, and JWT secret from this .env file. And this line is very important here. The config method actually doing the work for us. It is reading this .env file for us. So okay, after creating and writing this, we will go to our database.js file and add these lines of code inside this file. Here, look what we are doing. First of all, you need to install Mongoose. So simply go to terminal and simply write npm space install space Mongoose. After that, import Mongoose here and import env. As you can see, we have exported here env. So we will import env constant here, and we will use it here. There is a function called connect database, and this is the async function, and there is a try and catch block. In the try block, we are connecting our database into our server using the Mongoose, and this is there is a await keyword here, because this is the async function, and the establishment of the database and server consumes time. So that's why we are waiting to connect the database to the server. Then after the connection is successful, we will simply print MongoDB connected successfully, and if it gets failed, then we will simply print the error, and we will exit the process. And then we will export our method here, export default connect database. Now we will go to our server.js file, and we will update the code of the file. Here we will again write another method called start server. This is a async function, and now here we are calling the connect database method that we have declared before here. Then we are calling this method from our server.js file, and obviously we are adding await keyword here because we will be waiting to connect our database, and then after that we will start our server or start listening to our client. Here we are also importing the env from this file to get the value of the port. So obviously our inside app.listen you have to put the port number, and then after successfully connected and starting server, we will print server running on port number something. Okay, so that's all for today. Okay, so there can be a question that why we are connecting database first and then we are listening or starting the server, because we don't want our client to wait for too long. We want our client so that after hitting the API or after doing any request, he or she get the response immediately. That's why we are connecting our database firstly, and then we are starting our server. So now go to your terminal and simply run npm run dev. It will start your server, and after successfully connected to the database, you can see MongoDB connected successfully and server running on 5000. So now let's understand the complete flow here. So this is the complete flow. First, let us understand the connection flow. From server.js, we are calling connect database method, and under connect database method, we have the connection code, and mongoose.connect is actually connecting our database to the server. Then the connect is this method is going to the Mongo driver, and MongoDB driver is going to MongoDB server, and then it is establishing our connection. And this is the complete startup flow. So from terminal, we are simply writing npm run dev, and nodemon is starting our server using our entry point. As I said before, that our entry point is server.js, and in under server.js we are first importing the instance of express through writing import app.js, and then we are importing the environment variables using our dotenv package, which is actually loading the values of .env file for us, and then we are connecting our database, and after that we are starting our server. Okay, then after that we are listening our client's requests and our server is ready. So okay, in our that's all for today, and in our next lesson we will create the production express middleware setup. There you will get to know what is middleware, how express executes middleware, request lifecycle with middleware, then CORS, the helmet, Morgan login, and global error handling. So this lesson is extremely important because every authentication request will pass through middleware before reaching your controller. So okay guys, we will be meeting at our next tutorial. Subscribe my channel Programming Forecast and hit the like button for me, and share it with your friends and family if they need this tutorial. Thank you.